The grand conclave of Xylos pulsed with nervous energy. Light refracted through the immense crystal lattices that formed its walls, casting kaleidoscopic patterns across the assembly of the 12 ruling species of the Andromeda Concordance. Each delegation, seated on its designated platform, some metallic and humming with gravitational stabilizers, others bioluminescent and subtly shifting, still others carved from the very rock of their home worlds, projected an aura of apprehension. The topic was always the same: humanity. For cycles, the reports had trickled in: inexplicable sensor readings, lost patrols, outposts silenced with unnerving efficiency. Encounters with human vessels were brief, almost dismissive, leaving a lingering sense of unease that resonated across the vast interstellar network. Humanity's technology was functional. Their ships were not the sleek, elegant designs of the Concordance, nor did they possess the raw, overwhelming firepower of the warlike Crawl. Yet they were effective, disturbingly so. Their tactics were unorthodox, seemingly illogical, yet yielded consistent victories. The humans were a riddle wrapped in an anomaly, shrouded in a growing dread. Elder Thrax, the venerable representative of the Sylph, beings of pure energy housed within containment fields, emitted a low, resonant hum, his voice echoing through the chamber. The data is irrefutable. Human expansion is accelerating. Their incursions into concordant space are increasing in frequency and audacity. A guttural growl emanated from the Crawl delegation, massive reptilian forms armored in thick chitin. Let us crush them. A swift, decisive strike will demonstrate the futility of resistance. The Xyler, whose bodies were intricate networks of interconnected flora and fauna, swayed gently. Such aggression is premature. We do not understand their motives. A preemptive attack may provoke unforeseen consequences. The assembly devolved into a cacophony of dissenting opinions. Some argued for immediate military action, others for cautious diplomacy, still others for complete isolation. The fear was palpable, a tangible presence that choked the air. The humans were an unknown quantity, a disruptive force in the carefully balanced equation of the Concordance. They violated established protocols, ignored diplomatic overtures, and seemed utterly indifferent to the intricate web of treaties and alliances that had maintained peace for millennia. The representative of the Xyth, beings of pure intellect residing within advanced computational matrices, spoke in a synthesized monotone. Their communication patterns are erratic. Our attempts at deciphering their language have yielded minimal results. Their social structures appear chaotic, their individual behaviors unpredictable. They are an enigma. And that was the core of the problem. The Concordance, with its vast knowledge and sophisticated analytical capabilities, could not understand humanity. They could not predict their actions, anticipate their strategies, or comprehend their motivations. The humans operated on a different plane, a reality that defied all logic and reason. A wave of silence fell over the chamber as the primary display flickered to life, showcasing a human vessel. It was not an imposing warship, but a utilitarian transport ship, its hull scarred and weathered. Yet there was something about its design, a sense of quiet efficiency that inspired unease. Another unauthorized entry into Sector Gamma, reported the Xyth representative. They are approaching the abandoned research station designated Kepler 186F. Kepler 186F. The name hung in the air like a curse. It was a relic of a bygone era, a forgotten experiment into faster-than-light travel that had ended in catastrophic failure. The station had been quarantined for centuries, deemed too unstable and dangerous for further investigation. Why were the humans interested in it? The Crawl representative slammed a massive fist against the platform. They seek to weaponize the technology. We must stop them before they unleash another catastrophe. But Elder Thrax raised a silencing appendage. Wait, let us observe. Perhaps their actions will provide some insight into their nature. The assembly reluctantly agreed. The fate of the Concordance, perhaps even the galaxy, hung in the balance, suspended on the actions of a species they could not comprehend. The human vessel docked with Kepler 186F. Moments later, a team of figures in bulky environmental suits emerged and began their exploration. The sensors of the Concordance surveillance drones strained to capture every detail, every movement, every nuance. The humans moved with a methodical precision, their actions betraying a deep understanding of the station's layout and systems. They bypassed security protocols with ease, navigated treacherous corridors with confidence, and seemed utterly unfazed by the decaying infrastructure and lingering radiation. "They are accessing the primary research archives," reported the Xith representative, its voice laced with a hint of alarm. "They are downloading the data related to the original FTL experiments." The council chamber buzzed with renewed apprehension. The FTL technology developed at Kepler 186f was volatile and unpredictable, capable of tearing holes in the fabric of spacetime. If the humans were able to master it, they could become an unstoppable force. Suddenly, the human team stopped. They gathered around a central terminal, their movements tense and focused. Then one of them removed their helmet. The image, transmitted across the vast distances of space, was grainy and distorted, but the features were unmistakable. It was a human face, weathered and scarred, but bearing an expression of calm determination. The human spoke, their voice crackling through the comm system. "We know you are watching. We have accessed your archives. We understand your concerns." A collective gasp swept through the conclave. They had been detected, their surveillance compromised. The humans were far more aware than they had anticipated. "We are here to prevent a catastrophe," the human continued. "The technology developed at Kepler 186f was not a failure, it was a warning." "A warning? What did they mean?" "The experiments opened a gateway," the human explained. "A gateway to something beyond, something that sleeps, something that must not be awakened." The council members exchanged uneasy glances. This was beyond anything they had anticipated. "We have come to seal the gateway," the human said, "to ensure that it remains closed forever." The conclave watched in stunned silence as the human team activated the station's self-destruct sequence. Kepler 186f, a monument to scientific hubris and forgotten dangers, was about to be consumed in a cataclysmic explosion. "Why?" asked Elder Thrax, his voice barely a whisper. "Why would you destroy such valuable technology?" The human paused, their gaze unwavering. "Some knowledge is too dangerous to possess," they said. "Some doors are better left unopened. We learned that lesson long ago." The station detonated. A blinding flash of light engulfed the screen, followed by a shockwave that rippled through the fabric of spacetime. When the dust settled, Kepler 186f was gone, reduced to a cloud of debris. The gateway, whatever it was sealed. The conclave was left in stunned silence. The humans had not sought power or conquest. They had sought to protect the galaxy from a threat that the Concordants had not even known existed. The Krull representative, for the first time, spoke with a tone of uncertainty. What was that thing they spoke of?" The Xith representative, its computational matrix working overtime, responded slowly. "We have analyzed the human data. They referred to a being of immense power residing in a dimension beyond our own, a being capable of consuming entire galaxies." The silence in the chamber was deafening. The humans had known about this threat, had studied it, had developed the means to contain it, and they had done so without seeking recognition or reward. The representative of the avian collective, bird-like beings known for their wisdom and foresight, spoke with a newfound respect. "We have underestimated them. They are not a threat to the Concordance. They are its protectors." The conclave began to stir with a sense of cautious optimism. Perhaps, just perhaps, humanity was not the disruptive force they had feared. Perhaps they were something more. The human vessel turned and began its journey back into the unknown. As it disappeared from view, the humans spoke one last time. "We gave you one warning," they said. "Humanity demands retribution." The words hung in the air, a chilling reminder of the potential consequences of ignorance and arrogance. What retribution did humanity seek, and what had the Concordance done to warrant it? The gears of diplomacy began to grind. The Concordance initiated formal contact with humanity, extending an invitation to a summit on neutral ground. The humans accepted. The meeting was held on a space station orbiting a distant star. The representatives of the Concordance arrived in force, their warships forming a protective cordon around the station. The human delegation arrived in a single, unarmed vessel. The leader of the human delegation was a woman named Commander Eva Rostova. She was tall and lean, with a steely gaze and an air of quiet authority. She spoke calmly and deliberately, her words carrying the weight of centuries of history. "We have come to discuss the actions of the Concordance in the past," she said. "Actions that have caused immense suffering and destruction. The Concordance representatives shifted uneasily. What was she referring to? Centuries ago, Commander Rostova continued, your predecessors encountered a human colony ship adrift in space. The ship was damaged and its crew was in cryosleep. Your predecessors salvaged the ship, but they did not awaken the crew. Instead, they experimented on them, seeking to unlock the secrets of human biology. A collective gasp swept through the conclave representatives. This was a dark secret, one that had been buried for generations. The experiments were brutal and inhumane, Commander Rostova said. Many humans died. Those who survived were left scarred and broken. The Concordance representatives were aghast. This was a violation of every ethical principle they held dear. When the colony ship was finally released, Commander Rostova said, the survivors returned to Earth. They told their story, and humanity vowed never to forget. The silence in the chamber was deafening. The weight of history pressed down on the Concordance representatives. They had committed a grave injustice. We have come to demand retribution, Commander Rostova said. But we do not seek revenge, we seek justice. She laid out her demands. The Concordance must publicly acknowledge its past actions. It must provide reparations to the descendants of the victims. And it must establish a new set of ethical guidelines to ensure that such atrocities never happen again. The Concordance representatives agreed. They had no other choice. They had wronged humanity and they must make amends. The summit concluded. The Concordance and humanity forged a new alliance based on mutual respect and understanding. The past was not forgotten, but it was forgiven. Years passed. The Concordance and humanity worked together to explore the galaxy, to discover new technologies, and to protect the galaxy from external threats. They faced many challenges, but they faced them together. One day, a new signal was detected. It was faint and distant, but it was unmistakably artificial. It originated from a star system far beyond the borders of the galaxy. The Concordance and humanity joined forces to investigate. They sent a team of explorers to the star system. The explorers discovered a massive megastructure orbiting a black hole. The structure was ancient and decaying, but it was still functional. The explorers entered the megastructure. They found a vast library filled with the knowledge of a long-lost civilization. The library contained a message, a warning. The sleepers are awakening, the message said. They are coming to consume all life in the galaxy. You must prepare. The sleepers, the beings that the human team had warned about at Kepler 186f. They were not a myth, they were real, and they were on their way. The Concordance and humanity knew what they had to do. They had to unite the galaxy against the sleepers. They had to prepare for the greatest war in history. The battle was long and arduous. Many species were lost, many worlds were destroyed. But in the end, the Concordance and humanity prevailed. They defeated the sleepers and saved the galaxy. The victory was bittersweet. The galaxy was scarred and broken, but it was alive, and it was united. The Concordance and humanity rebuilt the galaxy, stronger and more resilient than ever before. They learned from their mistakes. They embraced diversity, and they never forgot the lessons of the past. The galaxy entered a new era, an era of peace and prosperity, an era of understanding and cooperation, an era of hope. And it all began with a warning that Earth gave to the aliens, a warning that humanity demanded retribution for. The true retribution, however, was not vengeance, but the salvation of the galaxy itself. The sleepers, once contained, were a constant reminder of the lurking dangers of the cosmos and the ever-present need for vigilance and unity. Humanity, having faced its own near extinction in the past, understood this perhaps better than any other species. Their actions, once perceived as unpredictable and erratic, were now understood as carefully calculated strategies for long-term survival, not just for themselves, but for all sentient life. The story of humanity became a legend whispered among the stars, a testament to their courage, their wisdom, and their unwavering commitment to the greater good. They were no longer underestimated, no longer feared, but revered as the guardians of the galaxy, the silent protectors against the darkness that lurked beyond the veil of reality. And in the quiet corners of the galaxy, on forgotten worlds and remote space stations, the echoes of that original warning continued to resonate, a constant reminder of the debt owed to the species that had dared to demand retribution, and in doing so, had saved them all. The ancient megastructure, its purpose now fully understood, served as a monument to their collective history, a testament to the power of unity and a beacon of hope for the future. The galaxy, forever changed by the arrival of humanity, looked towards the future with a newfound sense of purpose. The old divisions were fading, replaced by a spirit of collaboration and shared responsibility. The age of isolation was over. The age of unity had begun, and at the heart of it all was the legacy of Earth, the planet that had given the galaxy one warning and had demanded retribution, not for themselves, but for the survival of all. Commander Rostova, now an elder stateswoman, often reflected on the events that had shaped the galaxy's destiny. She remembered the fear, the uncertainty, and the initial arrogance of the Concordance. But she also remembered the moment when they had finally understood, when they had recognized the true nature of the threat and the true intentions of humanity. "We did what we had to do," she would say, her voice filled with a quiet conviction. "We gave them a warning, and we demanded retribution, but in the end it was not about us, it was about all of us." And as she looked out at the stars, she knew that the future of the galaxy was in good hands. The Concordance and humanity, once wary adversaries, were now united in a common cause. They had faced the darkness together, and they had emerged victorious. The end,